Our reporter Mbali Tatani, she's been following the day's events in court. Mbali, good afternoon to you. Okay, court just finished for the day. What were the main points of the action?
It is, of course, day two, Stephen, and we do know that Ernst from AfriForum was back on the witness stand and he completed his testimony today. And part of his testimony, Stephen, was, of course, the issues around the song Kill the Boer. But we know that the EFF has slightly changed that song to Kiss the Boer. And we know that they want this song to be declared as hate speech by this court. And in his testimony, basically, he went through a number of scenarios where he says that when we continue to hear politicians and the likes of Julius Malema chanting such words, it is these words that encourage violence, especially on farmers, and we continue to see farm attacks and farm murders. He also went on to say, and speaking just about the Afrikaans community, saying that when we continue to hear such chants, when the Afrikaner community then sees itself as second-class citizens and people who really have no regard in this country. But just to give us a bit more insight, when it comes to the testimony of Ernst, we are joined by Ernst van Zyl. He is also from AfriForum. We have seen today Rutz's testimony being completed. Are you satisfied by his testimony as AfriForum?
Well, I'm very satisfied with my colleague's contribution today to the case. I think he, firstly, is one of the foremost experts on the phenomenon of farm murders. So I think with his book that he's written, I think he is the perfect person to talk to when it comes to this phenomenon, all the different intricacies and nuances and how different political factors and hate speech factor in to this horrible form of crime.
Part of his testimony, he said that Afrikaner men, because of what we continue to see when such chants are made, that they see themselves as second-class citizens. Is that so? Do you think that in the country that we are living in, that they do see themselves as second-class citizens?
Well, that's going to depend on the perspective that you take. When you look at a country like South Africa, when certain types of hate speech do not get punished, it sends the message that some people are targets that can be targeted by this type of violent speech. So when it comes to things like the song Kill the Boer, and you see the effects of it, me, myself, coming from a farming community, I know people that have been affected by these types of attacks, by this type of by farm murders and farm attacks. You see the effects that this type of hate speech has. And when the perpetrators of this type of hate speech don't face any type of consequences, I don't blame anyone for coming to the conclusion that there is a double standard when it comes to regulating hate speech in this country towards minorities.
What do you have to say to somebody who says that this is not a matter about the song Kill the Boer or Kiss the Boer, but it is indeed a matter from the evidence in which we have heard about farm murders and farm attacks?
Well, what we're seeing here from what we've heard from my colleague's testimony today, the broader issue of farm attacks and farm murders is not something new. It's something that's been going on for many decades. So when it comes to the singing of the song Kill the Boer, there's a direct correlation between this hate speech and the crime itself, because there's a referral firstly to farmers, and then also the double meaning of Boer being also an ethnic group, the Afrikaner group. So there's that referral as well. So there's definitely a connection, and you can see, as my colleague today testified, the evidence presented in his book that there's a correlation, or there definitely appears to be a correlation between the amount of attacks and murders during times when this song was sung on a public platform. So that's definitely not something that can be ignored.
Yesterday we had a chat with the Secretary General from the EFF, and he said that this is just a waste of time. There is no case here. Do you believe that you're wasting the EFF's time?
I think when it comes to serious matters as calling for the killing of an entire group of people, I don't think it's a waste of time at all. I think it's a very serious matter. As I said, I come from a community that has been affected by this type of horrible crime. So coming from that type of background, knowing people that have been affected by it, having had to console people affected by it, I don't see it as any type of wasted time at all. I think it's a very serious matter.
Thank you very much. That is Ernst van Zyl. He's also from AfriForum. what was quite also interesting, Stephen, is that when we saw Roots much earlier on the witness stand, he also spoke about politicians and even went on to draw comparisons especially when the likes of the former ANC Youth League President Peter Mokaba made such sentiments around kill the Boer, and also then went on to take the court through a rise of farm attacks and farm murders. And that is essentially what he basically used here, saying that when you continue to hear politicians, the likes of former President Jacob Zuma as well, sing such songs, there also then becomes a ripple effect when, obviously looking at his testimony, he's saying that there is a ripple effect on the amount of farm murders and farm attacks that they see.
Mbali Titanic, thanks very much indeed. Do appreciate it with that live update from that court case taking place this week.
Sorry guys.